Hi, and welcome to Jesus Up and Out online training. Today we're going to be talking about the four fields, the strategy that Jesus used while he was here on earth and he taught his 12 disciples. And basically, it's an agricultural illustration where we use four fields. Now, the upper left corner here, the entry plan or entry strategy is an empty field. And what Jesus did is he enters into a lost culture and he sows seed into the second field. And this is the gospel plan. As that seed takes root and begins to grow, he has a discipleship plan. And then as plants grow, he gathers them together, and this is church formation plan. And then from that process, we have new laborers, or what we like to call trainers, who work in all four of these fields, going to the lost, sowing seed, helping people grow in their faith, and then gathering them together in churches and developing the next generation of trainers and laborers. Let's take a look at each one of these fields with a little bit more detail. The entry strategy, Jesus said, "The Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which is lost," Luke 19:10. And so we go into a lost culture and we connect and begin to develop relationships with the lost. From the first field, we enter the second field and we begin to do what Jesus did. In Matthew 4:23, it says, Jesus was going throughout all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues and proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom. So Jesus goes and he shares the gospel. That brings us to the third field, which is discipleship. And we know this from the Great Commission. Jesus came up and spoke to them, saying, "All authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Go therefore and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I've commanded you. And lo, I'm with you always, even to the end of the age." Matthew 28:18-20. So Jesus goes into a lost culture, shares the gospel, and then he begins to disciple, help them grow in their faith. That brings us to the fourth field. Jesus said, "I also say to you that you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overpower it." Matthew 16:18. So Jesus fully intends that we should gather together and assemble in his name, and we call that church. Jesus goes into a culture of lostness. He shares the gospel. He disciples by helping them grow in their faith, and then he gathers them together in church. But we're not done yet, because we need to repeat this process. Jesus said, "The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore, beseech the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest." Luke 10:2. So Jesus is telling his laborers, the men that he trained to work in the four fields, to pray for more laborers because the harvest is great, but the laborers are few. So Jesus goes into a lost culture, shares the gospel, helps people grow in their faith through discipleship, gathers them together in churches, and then he guides them to guide others in the same process of going, gospel, growing, gather, and guiding others. And so it's a continuous process of people doing what Jesus did, using his strategy to reach the lost, share the gospel, disciple them, form into churches, then developing the next generation of laborers, And he sends them out just as he himself was sent by the Father. As you have sent me into the world, I also sent them into the world. John 17:18. So the process or the strategy that Jesus used is very simple. Go, gospel, grow, gather, and guide. And that is the four fields, Jesus' strategy for reaching the world and glorifying the Father by bearing much fruit and reaching the nations with the gospel. If you'd like more information, we have other training videos. Just look down in the comments and you'll see the next training video, or you can visit our website at www.juio.net.